Deep within China lies an institution where students forsake mathematics and literature to master the arcane arts. You would not believe your eyes to see thousands practicing these ancient, mysterious rituals in open daylight. This is no fantasy film set, but a public university fully accredited by the government. They offer rigorous training in physiognomy to divine the future and talisman crafting to exorcise demons. The odds of gaining admission are far more brutal and unforgiving than the most prestigious Ivy Leagues. Welcome to Zhejiang, the breeding ground for true sorcerers in the modern era. Many dismiss magic or Feng Shui as mere scams, baseless superstitions of a bygone age. Yet this school has stood for millennia, guarding secrets that science has yet to explain. If you imagine students merely meditating and chanting boring scriptures, you are gravely mistaken. The truth behind their final graduation exam will make you shudder at its lethal potential. Amidst a nation of explosive technological growth, a parallel world of enchantment quietly exists. The Chinese government pours billions of yuan annually just to keep the heart of this academy beating. They refuse to let ancestral secrets, thousands of years old, be buried under the dust of time and forgotten. But what truly transpires behind those moss-covered stone walls, forbidden to outsiders? I have dug deep to uncover the survival rules that every student here must strictly obey. They believe our existence is governed by invisible, incredibly potent currents of energy. If one knows how to manipulate them, one can alter the destiny of a nation or end a life. That is why their selection process is so exacting and ruthless. You need not only superior intelligence, but also a specific, innate spiritual foundation. Tens of thousands of applications flood in yearly, yet only 60 fortunate souls are chosen. Such acceptance rates make getting into Harvard or Oxford look like child's play. First, they scour tea, hurry generations of your family history to ensure no moral stain exists. Then comes physical torture, with endurance tests more grueling than special forces training. You must run long distances and scale sheer vertical staircases up high mountains within a set time. But the true nightmare lies in the psychological test, checking if your mind shatters upon seeing ghosts. Many candidates collapse at this very stage, unable to withstand the crushing pressure of absolute silence. Once officially enrolled, you must sign a pledge to renounce the secular life entirely. Rule number 1 is an absolute prohibition on romance or sexual relations for 4 long years. Smartphones and the internet are severely restricted to prevent polluting the cultivator's mind. Students must rise at 4 in the morning when thick fog and bone-chilling cold cloak the mountain peaks. They begin the day with Tai Chi, unblocking meridians and absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. Their meals are incredibly frugal, consisting entirely of vegetables without a single scrap of meat. They believe consuming animal flesh carries resentment, clouding the third eye of the practitioner. Life here is so isolated that students feel as if they dwell in a different century of the past. There are no car horns, no neon lights, only the sound of temple bells and somber chanting. Their curriculum is dense with ancient characters that would make a normal person dizzy just looking. They must memorize the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching and the cosmic operation of yin and yang. A single mistake leads to disaster, for this knowledge directly impacts human safety. On some nights, students must meditate for hours in the deep forest to sense the breath of nature. That is when they face primal human fear and learn to control it completely. The most intriguing subject is undoubtedly talisman drawing, known as fulu in Taoist culture. Do not think scribbling red ink on yellow paper is enough to scare ghosts or sapi, res evil energy. To create an efficacious charm, the master must pour their entire essence and spirit into the brush tip. Before drawing, they must bathe, burn incense, pray, and keep their minds completely empty and still. Every stroke laid down drains their own life force, transferring it onto the paper. Some students faint on the spot after finishing a single talisman, completely exhausted. If the mind is not pure or holds evil intent, the talisman will backfire, causing harm to its creator. Next is physiognomy, where they learn to read people to divine their past and future. They observe every wrinkle on the forehead, every mole on the face, to decipher the subject's character. This is not fraudulent fortune-telling, but a statistical science distilled from thousands of years of experience. They can look at your complexion and know immediately which internal organs are in serious trouble. Some masters can even tell if a person is lying just by hearing their voice over the phone. Another equally important subject is Qi Men Dun Jia, historically used for military strategy deployment. Anciently, Zhuge Liang used it to defeat enemies, but today, they use it to predict markets and current events. Students must calculate the golden hour to depart for a journey or break ground on a major construction. They believe that doing the right thing at the right time increases the chance of success 100-fold. Yet all this knowledge pales in comparison to the terrifying subject of geographical Feng Shui. This is where they learn to spot the dragon veins of the land and vital points determining rise and fall. And to understand its power, we must discuss the most ruthless Feng Shui wars in history. Students here must dissect the bloodiest modern Feng Shui battlegrounds in Hong Kong. This city is considered the Colosseum for the world's most skilled Feng Shui masters of the last century. A prime example is the Great War between the Bank of China Tower and the renowned HSBC building. When the Bank of China Tower was built, Hong Kong citizens panicked at its bizarre shape. The building was designed like a giant, sharp, three-edged knife slashing straight into the blue sky. This is an extremely aggressive design in Feng Shui, generating powerful, invisible waves of killing energy. One edge of this knife pointed directly at the governor's house, missing nothing. Consequently, the governor died suddenly of a heart attack shortly after the tower was completed. The second edge of the tower aimed straight at the headquarters of its rival, HSBC, located right next door. Immediately, HSBC's stock price plummeted, and profits fell in a mysterious, inexplicable manner. HSBC leadership had to invite the best Feng Shui masters to find a way to neutralize this killing energy. Their solution was to place two giant cannons on the roof, aiming directly back at the Bank of China Tower. In Feng Shui, cannons represent fire and metal, capable of suppressing and reflecting the energy from that blade. Since the installation of those two cannons, HSBC's business situation finally began to recover and stabilize. The story didn't end there, as the Lipo Center also got caught in the crossfire of this war. They had to redesign their building into the shape of koala bears clutching a tree. The goal was to create stability and dodge the killing energy flying back and forth overhead. Taoist students must meticulously analyze every angle and wind direction of this giant octagonal formation. They understand that a good architect must not only draw beautifully, but also preserve the client's life. Another more macabre example is the story of the mysterious dragon pillar in bustling Shanghai. During elevated highway construction, engineers could not drive a pile into one specific location. The drill bit would snap upon touching the ground despite using the most modern imported equipment. Rumors spread that beneath lay the eye of a sleeping dragon, and they had inadvertently angered it. Finally, authorities had to invite a high monk to perform rituals continuously for 3 days and nights. After the ceremony, the pile was driven down easily, as if entering an empty void, completely bizarre. However, that high monk passed away just a few days later for revealing heavenly secrets and bearing the karma. Today, that pillar is carved with 9 golden dragons and is the only decorated pillar in Shanghai. These stories serve as bloody lessons for students, teaching them never to trifle with supernatural forces. Returning to the Zhejiang Taoist Academy, where these secrets are taught in the most scientific manner. To graduate, students need not write a paper thesis, but must prove their practical abilities. They must perform a complete ritual before a jury of the most prestigious Taoist masters. Every step, every incantation, every hand gesture must be absolutely precise, not deviating by a millimeter. They must also demonstrate the ability to consult Feng Shui for a hypothetical project or read faces for strangers. If they fail, they are held back at the school, continuing their cultivation until they achieve mastery. The ultimate truth is they are not training sorcerers to rule the world or practice dark arts. This is a national strategy to preserve the intangible cultural heritage of the Chinese people, which is fading. Those talismans are essentially spiritual therapy, helping humans overcome invisible fears. Graduates will become relic managers or cultural research specialists at temples and shrines. The degree they receive is a formal bachelor's, legally valid throughout the vast territory of China. They prove that between modern science and ancient spirituality, there is always a miraculous intersection. Ascetic cultivation helps them forge an iron will to face the terrible pressures of life. They do not use magic to fly like in movies, but use ancient wisdom to solve modern problems. This is how the Chinese preserve their national identity against the strong wave of global integration. Miracles do not come from a magic wand, but from moral cultivation and wisdom within each person. This school is eloquent proof that ancient values still thrive in the 21st century. If chosen, would you dare leave the city for the mountains to attend this strange and mystery-filled school? Or do you still prefer the safety and convenience of modern life in the prosperous, bustling city? Comment your opinion below so we can discuss this enchanting spiritual world together. I will return with even darker and more mysterious topics if this video reaches 10,000 likes. Do not forget to hit subscribe immediately so you do not miss the terrifying truths waiting for you next.